angle bisectors, when a point is the same distance, and this is the 9th. Yeah. Oh, she ain't gonna do her homework. No way. Just saying. Nope. Should have remembered it. The point is said to be equidistant. Okay? Perpendicular bisector theorem. Stop talking. Says that if a midpoint is on the perpendicular bisector of a segment, then it is equidistant from the endpoints of the segment. If a point, not midpoint, if a point is on the perpendicular bisector of a segment, then it is equidistant. Now, even if you didn't know what equidistant means, you ought to be able to figure it out from the clues. What does equa mean? Equal distance, okay? And you can see it here. This is what it looks like. And we talked about this right before Christmas, about what this looks like. And it's just total common sense, folks. If this point Y is the midpoint, and how do I know that it is the midpoint? Because it's, but, I mean, I could do it like this right here. I could draw this. Here's A and B, and I could say, hey, Y is the midpoint? Nope. How do you know it's in the center? The tick marks. These tick marks right here mean that Y is the midpoint. Okay? Now, here we go. How are we going to use it? The converse says that if a point is equidistant from the endpoints of the segment, then it's on the perpendicular bisector. Yeah. I've got my book open to page 300. No, I know how to use this stuff. I may not know it word for word, but I know how to use the theorems. Okay? To me, that's more important than knowing every single word to that theorem. Again, to me, this is common sense. If you see that AY is congruent to YB, you better assume that Y is the what? The midpoint, and it passes through that perpendicular bisector, so we have those right angles, right triangles. Yes, it does. Okay? Now, there they are. That's what I'm looking at on page 300 in your book, which you don't need that, but it is on page 300, just FYI, because I just wrote it down. There we go. Use this information given in this diagram. You're told that CD, line CD, is the perpendicular bisector of segment AB. And look at the picture. Look at what you're given. What types of things do you notice? Maybe. The right angle. Let's look inside of that figure. What else? Tick marks. If those tick marks are there, Zoe, then that means that that green point that I just put in there has to be the what of that, the midpoint of segment AB. Okay? It says find CA and DB. Well, guys, here we go. Look at it. Just look at it. I'm going to cover things up because it's too much for me to look at. What's CA? Go with your gut. It's 5. It's common sense. If this is 5, then this is 5. And the way I know that is I see a right angle, and I see that these two pieces are congruent to each other. Look at the next one. CA is 5. Folks, what's DB? 6. Facile or difficile? Muy facile. See? All right. See how easy that is? This is going to go very fast. Question. That's it. That's it. Nope. Well, when I throw in algebra, it may get a little bit more difficult, only if you can't do the algebra. Okay? But you can't just keep it simple. Because I got to prepare you for not so simple SOL. You know what I mean? What are we going to, it's going to be on the computer. Yeah. Yeah. What are we going to do? Look at this. Find each measure. MN. What is the measure of segment MN? 2.6. Good, y'all. What is BC? Be careful. So I'm looking for what will help me. If this little piece DC is 12, then what's BD? 12, that's right. And then it's asking me for the whole thing, which is, there we go. And you better make these marks, folks. It's all right. It's all right. You had a brain fart. It's okay. Let's go with another one. The angle bisector theorem. Okay, the same thing applies, folks. Same thing applies. This is on page 301, just FYI. The angle bisector theorem says if a point is on the bisector of an angle, then it is equidistant from the sides of the angle. Look at it. If the point is on the bisector of the angle. And how do I know? Look at these arcs right here. If you see those two angles are congruent to each other, then those two AC and CB, they're going to be congruent to each other. And then the converse of that says that if a point in the interior of an angle is equidistant from the sides of the angle, then it is on the bisector of the angle. It's going to be on the bisector of that angle. All right, here we go. How are we going to use it? This is on page 301. Just FYI, I know you guys have free time at home and you like to read your textbook. Don't play like you don't. I know you all read a section of this each night. I know it helps you sleep, doesn't it? Yeah, I know. All right, what about example 4? Set them equal to each other. So let's do this technical. Can I say that DF is equal to FB? And then by substitution, what will I say? Yep. All right, stop right there. Is the geometry over? Geometry's over. Now we're into algebra. But I like your confidence. That's all right, man. But you got to be confident. You were. I understand. Now, am I done? No. I found the value of x. That's going to be helpful to me. But now I have to find FD and FB. Plug them back in. All right, so FD, which is 5x, 5 times 8, which is 40. According to that theorem, FB better be what value? It better be 40. Let's check it. 2 times 8 plus 24. 16 plus 24 is, heck yes, 40. So do you actually have to crunch this twice? No, you really don't have to if you know your theorem. If you know your theorem, you don't have to. Do you have questions so far? Are we cool? Yeah, you got to have strong algebra. And you know what? If you don't, you really shouldn't get into this class until your algebra skills are pretty strong. Because how much algebra? We probably do as much algebra, if not more, in this class than we do geometry. Geometry just helps us do what? Set them up. And then it's all Move, 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 solve, right? All right, what about this one? Find the value of x, and then find angle DEH. Where is that angle, by the way? Well, is it the little DEH? Guys, it's that whole thing right there, isn't it? Okay. How am I going to find x? How are we going to find it? Set them equal to each other. 2x is equal to x plus 20. Geometry done? Yep. Now we're doing algebra. X is 20, right on? Hold on. How do I even get there? I got to plug it in, and then I have to add them together. So 2 times 20 is 40. I'm going to put 40 right there. 20 plus 20, of course, is 40, which means that whole thing is 80, right? Questions? Questions at all? Yes? Find each measure. Find TU. You should. See if it's on the back of something. All right, here we go. Good luck, guys. All right. Okay, hold on, folks. What are we going to do with example 6? Set them equal to each other. Okay? Here we go. That's going to give me 3x plus 9 equals 7x minus 17. When I subtract 3x and add 17, do I get a decimal?
Yeah, I got 28.5.
26 and then divide by 4? 6.5, right?
Yeah.
Am I done?
Nope.
No.
You plug in that 3x.
Turn them up. All right.
So mine's right.
TU. So we got to plug this value, 6.5, back in here. 3 times 6.5 plus 9, 18, 19.5 plus 9, which is 28.5. You guys agree with that? How many of you had 28.5? Hands up. Very good. This kid right here. All right, what about the next one then? It says given. Ooh, what happens? Let me ask you something. You got to put everything on your paper, okay? It's given to you, but it's given to you at the beginning. So put it on your picture. You're told that DE, the whole thing, is 20.8. You're told that DG is 36.4. EG is 36.4. Find this right here. Find EF. Say it again, Maddie. Just take 20.8 and divide by 2. I can't hear 35 of you talking at the same time. Maddie, how'd you know to do that? Bless you. Because there are 2 pieces. And we know that F would have to be the what of that segment, the midpoint. That means that they are congruent to each other. Divide by 2. 10.4 is EF, yes or no? Bless you. Questions? The walls. Wow. Those segments are concerned is to find just each piece of those. Okay? Does everybody understand how we get this? Yes or no? Everybody cool. Let's move on. Let's look at 8. BC, what is it, guys? 7.2. That one's easy. I do too. Find the measure of EFH. All right, first of all, where is it? It's on that left side, isn't it? Here's what I would do. kind of highlight it or mark the angle that we're trying to find. We're not finding the whole thing. We're finding a little piece of that whole thing, okay? Now, what we know that the whole thing is 50. Jade, how do you know that? 50 divided by 2 is 25 degrees. Very good. Very good. Isn't this section just common sense? This is just common sense, folks. Hey, solve example 10 yourselves and example 11, okay? I've got to actually mark that angle. MK, not there. MKL right here. I got to find that piece. How am I going to go about solving it? Zoe. Set them equal to each other. 3a plus 20 equals 2a plus 26. Do the algebra. And didn't I get a equals 6? How many of you got a equals 6? I'm done, right?
Nope.
Where is that going to be on your SOL test? It's going to be the first one. Promise. It's going to be the first one. And you got to stop back and think, oh, hold up. What am I looking for? I'm looking for this angle, 2a plus 26. 2 times 6 plus 26. 12 plus 26, which is? How many of you had 38 is your answer? High five, guys. Good job. Will they what?
Are they even going to have, like, multiple choice?
Yes. There will be some multiple choice, yeah. There'll be more multiple choice than anything else, but you will have those that you'll have to move them.
Hopefully those will be filled questions too.
No, they won't all be filled questions. Some of them will be. Some of them will be. How about the next one? All right, this is the one where you got to fill everything in, okay? It says WYZ. WYZ is 63 degrees. XW is 5.7. ZW is 5.7. And we've got to find XYZ. Ooh. Whole thing. Why? Because half of that one big angle is 63, which means this other one has to be 63. 63 times 2, or 63 plus 63 is 126. How many of you had that as your answer?
I see why I messed up.
Cool. All right. Shh. Questions? No questions? Got it? All right. Let's see what's next. Oh, we got this. It says, as a class, let's write an equation in slope-intercept form for the perpendicular bisector of the segment with endpoints. La, la. Here we go. Let's graph them first. 6, -5. You better hang on, and if you need to watch this, then watch it and go back and copy it later when you're at home watching the video, because I know you all guys, you want to go home and watch this. 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 3, 4, 5. That's what puts you to sleep. Not reading the textbook, but watching the video. Hearing my voice. 1, 2, 3. Of course you do. Uh-huh. All right, there it is. Okay? That's the line that we have to create the perpendicular bisector. So we need to do two things, and we've done this before, once in here. I need two things. I need to find the midpoint of CD. I'll add the x's divided by 2, add the y's divided by 2, and we'll do that in a minute. But I'm also going to have to know the slope of segment CD. Here's C, here's D. And then I'm going to have to write the perpendicular slope to CD. Whew. Step 4, I got to write the equation. Let's do this together, okay? Okay. Find the midpoint. You guys have already said that add the x's divided by 2, add the y's divided by 2 for the midpoint. All right, so let's mark this. It's going to be a lot of writing. So, add the x's, divide by 2, add the y's.
What's the positive b parallel?
Right equation. Perpendicular. Yeah, that. My x's are 6 and 10 divided by 2. My y's are -5 and 1 divided by 2. We get 16 divided by 2, -4 divided by 2. When you simplify, what's the midpoint? 8, -2, right? Y'all, you buy that? Okay. All right, and let's look and see if it is. 8, -2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2. Well, of course, my line is man-made and it's not where it should be. But that's where it's supposed to be. But this isn't hand grenades and horseshoes. Right. That's better. Kind of, maybe, not really. Okay. There it is. Looks great. All right. We found the midpoint. Now, our perpendicular bisector has got to come like that right there, because it has to do two things. It's going to bisect that segment CD at that midpoint we just found, and it's going to be perpendicular, form that 90-degree angle at that line CD. So the first thing we have to do is we've got to find the slope of segment CD. Folks, this is the point where we can count the rise over run. That's what I prefer. All right, so start at the bottom. We're going to rise 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And we're going to run 1, 2, 3, 4. 7/4. Now we could verify that with, wonder if I move that whole thing. 10, 1. Yep, I messed it up. Hold up. 6/4. Because remember, I rotated my line. And are we going to leave it at 6/4, or what are we going to do? Reduce it to 3/2. Folks, what we could do is we could use the slope formula, and we would figure out that it is 3/2, okay?
Any 2 points?
Any 2 points should give you 3/2, okay? All right, here we go. We've got the slope. So we've got first part finished, second part finished. Now, if the slope of CD is 3/2, good. Then the slope of the line perpendicular, remember it's the opposite reciprocal. Very good. Flip it over, change it to its opposite, so it's -2/3. And now, finally, we have to write the equation using our perpendicular slope of -2/3, and it's going to pass through which point? It has to pass through which point, folks? Come on, guys, which one? 8, -2, why? It has to go through that midpoint. Remember, we're creating the line that's doing this right here. That's the line we're writing the equation for, the blue line, okay? And folks, we did this first semester, and I think we did this pretty well. I like to use y equals mx plus b because that's really the only one I need to know. What is my y value? -2. What's my m? -2/3. What's my x value? 8/1, okay? Plus b, excuse me. -2 is equal to -16/3. And then, folks, now we got to do a little bit of work. We're going to add 16/3 to both sides. And I'm going to tell you what, if you take that calculator, folks, and you put in your calculator -2 plus parentheses 16 divided by 3 parentheses. What do you get? 3.3 repeating, okay? Let's write that down just for kicks. That can't be the answer, but the answer can be, what is 0.3 repeating as a decimal? I mean a fraction? No. No. It's 3 repeating, 0.3 repeating. You've got to know that it's 1/3. You've got to know that, okay? And if you want to take, y'all see the ABC button on there?
Yeah. No. I see the arrow.
See the ABC button? The ABC button is above the 7. Do y'all see that?
Yeah.
Okay. This is on the Casios. Hit the 3. Hit the ABC button. Hit the 1. Hit the ABC button and hit the 3. We're not hitting execute. We're hitting 3, ABC 1, ABC 3, and now hit enter. You get 3 1/3. Okay. 3 1/3. That's 3 1/3. That's letting you enter it in as a mixed number. Okay. Now, do I have the slope of this line? Yes. It's -2/3. Plug it in. What is the y-intercept of this line? Remember, y equals mx plus b. We're plugging into m and b. Three 1/3. There we go. That is the equation of the perpendicular bisector. It is, but folks, that's something you need to know how to do. That is applying what you know, okay? Maybe. Maybe. You better figure out how to get it right, okay? You better figure out how to get it right. Questions on this? All right, here's what you're going to do for me, okay? I want you to look at page 304. Okay. And I want you to do number 2, 2 through 7. Two through 7. That's it. Just 2 through 7. Okay? That's all I want.